Over the past couple of months on this channel, one thing we've been doing is reviewing gangster movies and crime films with a point to focus on obscure films like Meet the Mobsters or those that are downright rubbish like Righteous Kill or This Thing of Ours. Today I wanted to take a look at a movie that definitely isn't rubbish and isn't exactly obscure. It was nominated for an Oscar after all, but I've always felt it was being held back by its disaster of a title. And that is Jonathan Glazer's Sexy Beast, starring Ray Winston, Ben Kingsley and Ian McShane.
Gotta change my shirt, it's sticking to me, I'm sweating like a cunt.
Sexy Beast is a good movie. At under an hour and a half, it is a sharp, short, funny and violent, colourful film that doesn't outstay its welcome. But the name is atrocious. There's just something so cheap about it. Like, if you came across it on the telly, you'd assume it's one of those raunchy, low-level comedies like Dirty Grandpa. Granted, Sexy Beast is a quirky film. That falling boulder just about missing gal in the beginning, the title card popping up at a freeze frame of an out-of-focus shot of Ray Winston's legs, dreamlike shots of gal and his missus flying in the air, the camera on a car door as McShane opens and closes it. There's many unconventional elements to this movie, and I suppose the name is one of them. But I've never liked it. It holds the film back. I know people who'd love this film, but they'll question their friendship with me the minute I recommend them a film called Sexy Beast. It doesn't even seem to have any relevance to the movie. The film's plot involves retired gangster Gal, played by Winston, living out his years in sunny Spain with his wife, until a call comes from the intimidating Don Logan, played by Kingsley, who is arriving soon and wants Gal to take part in a heist, with the bulk of the film being Don trying to intimidate a reluctant Gal into accepting the job. Like, where in that do you get Sexy Beast?
It's a bit sudden, isn't it?
Sudden? No, it's very far from sudden. Teddy's been working on this for 5 months. Dan almost that. I've been in on it for 2. It's not sudden. Preparation, preparation, preparation. As far as the actual job's concerned, it's a piece of piss. A monkey could do it. That's what I thought of you.
Sexy Beast was part of a string of movies concerning themselves with the skullduggery of British subculture in the early 2000s, like Layer Cake, Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels, and Snatch. The premise is very simple, but the movie is anchored by superb performances. In fact, the film hinges on the actors delivering.
Friday at the Grosvenor, you'll be there.
I won't.
You will, I told Ted you're doing it. Don't you show me up.
No, I won't be there.
You will, you're Mr. Roundtree.
No, Don.
Yes, Roundtree.
No.
Yes, Grosvenor.
No, Don.
Friday.
I won't be there.
You will.
No, Don.
Yes, 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 yes.
It's like the build-up to Don Logan's arrival in Spain. Gal, his wife, and their 2 friends' tension and discomfort as they await the inevitable arrival. Winston was fantastic, a vulnerable performance of a man coming close to cracking from intense pressure and fear throughout several points in the film.
Look, Don.
Look, Don.
It's like this.
Like what?
I'm retired.
Are ya?
Afraid so.
It's very different from the typical gangster role from Winston and showcases his range as a performer.
Thanks and all that. Thanks for thinking of me. But I'm just going to have to turn this opportunity down.
No, you're just going to have to turn this opportunity, yes.
I'm not exactly match fit.
Seem all right to me.
No, not really, Don.
You look fine.
I'm not.
Do the job.
What?
Do the job.
No, Don.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
I can't.
You can.
I can't.
That cunt.
Don, don't do this.
Do what?
Look.
What am I doing?
This.
This what?
Ian McShane as the mastermind behind the heist and the senior crime boss was also excellent, delivering a chilling and devilish performance as Teddy that unnerves you.
Just so you got back safe?
No. He didn't do that.
How'd you mean?
I mean, he didn't do that.
You did.
No. He didn't. He didn't phone you from Heathrow.
I'm the one who got the call. If you know something different, then tell me.
Gal has to tell a significant lie to Teddy, and you can just see that he sees right through it with his piercing eyes.
Okay.
right.
But they are both overshadowed by the performance that everyone remembers from the film. In fact, the film's main attribute, Ben Kingsley's ferocious and electric turn as Don Logan.
I'm taking a piss out of you, are they? Liberties. What, that come through there? It's inside of you. What's it said to you? It's all right, mate. You can tell me. You said that. Just like that? No. That lump of shit said that. Expect you to take that, swallow that. What, do you think you're a cunt? I'll sort him out for you, Charlotte. It's not a problem.
It's a performance that's as equally terrifying as it is hilarious. He's loud, uncouth, ugly, unstable, insecure, and very scary. He looks like he's about to pounce at any given moment at the other characters.
How's your brother doing? Malky, he's all right, I suppose. He's Malky, and he don't know. You'd have to ask him. You patch things up? It's up to him, innit?
Everything from the way he talks to that shiny, bald head. He's like a wild animal, a force of nature whose terrifying aura is what the entire film is structured around. That's literally the story of the film. Don Logan is about to turn up, and everyone is shitting themselves.
But quite frankly, your attitude appalls me. It's not what you're saying. It's all the stuff you're not saying. Insinuendos. You really are demonstrating some whopping great ego, my friend. I'll keep that in check if I were you. Because that sort of beginning this could be a right turn-off. Now, if you don't want to do the job, fair enough, I can accept that, or we'll leave it at that. And considering what I know about you and the outrageousness of what's going on inside your head, whatever stinky thoughts you're having, which I don't want to know, because they're so disgusting. Fucking hell.
It truly boggles the mind that this is the same guy who won an Oscar playing the pacifist Mahatma Gandhi in the 80s. The two performances are worlds apart. I even saw an interview with Winston where the actors, who just like the characters were waiting for Kingsley to show up, who was wrapping filming on another shoot, Winston was unconvinced about Kingsley, thinking Gandhi was going to turn up. But the story goes that Kingsley turned up in character and just scared the shit out of the other actors.
Talk to me, gal. I'm here for you. I'm a good listener.
What can I say, Don? I've said it all. I'm retired.
Shut up. Cunt. You louse. You got some fucking neck, ain't you? Retired, fuck off. You're revolting.
As wild as Kingsley is as Don Logan, in some ways it's an unappreciated performance. Because all mostly is him screaming and shouting. I've read some reviews where they even label the character a caricature.
What did you fucking say, cunt? What? Problem? Fucking problem? No, mate, no. No fucking problem with the plane, cunt. Fucking plane was fine. Fucking plane was all right. Fucking plane was perfect. It's you. You're the problem. You're the fucking problem. You fucking Dr. White, onkin jam rag, arkin spunk bubble. I'm telling you, H, you keep looking at me, I'm going to put you in the fucking ground. I promise you.
But there is subtlety in the performance. There's subtlety in the film. I remember the first time I ever watched it and Don is grilling Gal about the job. Gal reiterates he's retired. He tells Don, I'm happy here. And Don blurts out, I won't let you be happy, why should I?
Do it.
I'm retired.
Do it.
This is madness. I've had enough of this crime and punishment bollocks. I'm happy here.
I won't let you be happy, why should I?
I always thought that line was so revealing about Don. It isn't just about getting Gal to do the job. It isn't just about him looking down on Gal for retiring to sunny Spain. He actively resents Gal for his success because Gal has what he wants, so he wants to punish him for it. Gal has retired with the love of his life, and a few lines of dialogue from Don let slip that he has feelings for Jackie, also living in Spain, who wants nothing to do with him. Keep this to yourself, but I quite liked her, he tells Gal in an earlier scene, a rare moment of vulnerability that is essential reasoning for why Don acts the way he acts and why he becomes more unhinged over the course of the film, feeling everyone is laughing at him and he's in bitter pain that Jackie wants nothing to do with him.
Shouldn't have told him that. Shouldn't have said anything there. Where? Back there in the bar, about Jackie. Jackie Packy. What, Gal? He's all right. Still giving too much of yourself away, mate. Fucking mouth. Let's keep stum. Stum, cook, stum. Big mouth, fucking big mouth. Don.
There's other lines too, like,
Lie on your pool like a fat blob laughing at me. Do you think I'm gonna have that? Do you really think I'm gonna have that, you ponce?
which we might dismiss as funny throwaways, but they're crucial for understanding Don. I actually have a whole video analysing Don Logan on the channel, which you can check out, called Don Logan Rage and Resentment. So I won't talk too much about the character here. You can check out that video for more on Don Logan. But that line, "I won't let you be happy, why should I?" is so important. And in fact, there's a few interviews out there of Ben Kingsley where he also made a point of that line, expressing that he played Don Logan like he had an abused childhood. And he also said the character is based on his grandmother.
Look at your fucking suntan, like leather. Like a leather man, your skin. You can make a fucking suitcase out of you, old all. You look like a crocodile, fat bastard. You look like fucking Idi Amin, you know what I mean? State of you. Should be ashamed of yourself.
So yeah, the movie is a fun ride, but to dismiss it as a wacky caper is not entirely fair. The subtlety in the relationships and human interplay are exquisite and essential to the film's success. One could argue that Sexy Beast suffers from what we might call the Full Metal Jacket syndrome, in that the first half of the film is infinitely better than the second. Sure, the second half is still good, there's a lot of tension, we get a bit more of McShane, but we swap that anxious Spain villa setup for a generic heist, and we pretty much lose Don Logan.
Are you gonna do the job? It's not a difficult question. Yes or no?
Donna.
Say it.
No.
Yes. Fuck off, wanker, you're doing it.
Perhaps if the film was a little more ambitious, if it added another half hour and given the film a bit more juice, we might be looking at a film that is more recognised among crime movie fans. Upon rewatch, one thing I noted was that there seems to be a fair bit of covert homoeroticism and sexual repression. Gal's woman being a former porn star, Logan talking about how Jackie tried putting her finger up his bum when they were doing it, Teddy conceiving a heist at an orgy and later being sodomized by the bank owner, the heist taking place in a bathhouse with a bunch of nearly naked men all cavorting in the water together, the main character sweating in a skimpy speedo with the title Sexy Beast scroll over him. Maybe I've been analysing movies and TV shows for too long, but even that opening with Winston and the pool boy. Gal opens his eyes as he is sunning by the pool, sees the boy who's giggling playfully, watching him work for a few minutes, then grabs a wet cloth and sticks it on his crotch, as if to damper an erection and returning to sunning. And we get a shot of the two love hearts in the pool, and then after a few seconds, Gal's face is level with the boy's crotch. It did fleetingly cross my mind that Gal's relationship with the boy was possibly a little more than just a kid he likes to mentor and have around. Saying that though, it could be that the pool boy represents Gal's satisfaction and pleasure in retirement, where he can lay in the sun and chill at peace. Don Logan is the opposite, a loud and unstable relic from the past coming at Gal like the boulder that almost destroys his newfound oasis in the opening scene. The pool boy is the quote-unquote sexy. Don is the quote-unquote beast. The boy tries and fails to shoot the bunny in the beginning of the film, and what with Gal being tormented in his dreams of a bunny man coming to shoot him, which symbolises his past catching up to him, we can infer that the boy failing to shoot the bunny represents Gal trying and failing to move on from his past. Both the pool boy and the bunny man are shirtless male figures, both wield a gun in the desert at some point, and where Enrique the kid is a human who points a gun at a bunny, the bunny man is a bunny who points a gun at a human. When Don hits the pool boy later in the film, it's a physical representation of what is at stake, that Don is here to ruin Gal's happiness, represented by the pool boy. So there you have it. What do you make of Sexy Beast? Do you like the title? And what do you make of Ben Kingsley's performance as Don Logan? Let me know in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel and thanks for watching.